Mesopotamia, a journey through the land between rivers. Etymology, the origins of Mesopotamia's name. The name Mesopotamia is steeped in linguistic history, evolving through centuries of cultural exchange. Derived from the ancient Greek words musigmomicron, mesos meaning middle, and piomicron tile potamus meaning river, it translates quite literally as the land between rivers. The rivers in question are the iconic Tigris and Euphrates, the life arteries of this ancient land. However, this isn't just a Greek invention. Long before the Greeks coined the term, the concept of the land between rivers was deeply embedded in the languages of the region itself. The Akkadian phrase Birat Narim, and later the Aramaic equivalent, were likely direct inspirations for the Greek term. These names reveal just how crucial these rivers were to the identity of the land. In Arabic, it's referred to as Bilat Rafadain, and in Syriac, it's Beth Narin, each carrying the same meaning but reflecting different eras and linguistic traditions. The term Mesopotamia is first found in ancient texts as early as the Anabasis of Alexander, where historians writing about the time of Alexander the Great used it to describe the regions east of the Euphrates, mainly in what is now northern Syria. Over time, however, it became more widely applied to cover the whole swath of land between the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers, a region that extends across modern-day Iraq, southeastern Turkey, and parts of Syria and Iran. In the modern academic world, the use of the name Mesopotamia often carries a chronological significance, typically referring to the region's history up until the Muslim conquest of the 7th century AD. After that period, terms like Iraq and Syria take over, marking the beginning of new political and cultural eras. Some scholars argue that these later terms reflect a Eurocentric worldview, influenced by Western colonization and mapping during the 19th century. But even so, the ancient heart of Mesopotamia still beats beneath these modern names. Geography, shaped by rivers and marshes. Let's imagine for a moment what this land must have looked like to its first settlers. Mesopotamia, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was a place of both beauty and challenge. It wasn't just a flat desert land. The geography varied from vast desert plains in the north to fertile marshlands in the south, where reeds and wildlife thrived in a complex marsh-based ecosystem. In the south, where the two rivers eventually merge and flow into the Persian Gulf, the land gave birth to some of the world's first marsh cultures. Here, people lived in mudif, massive reed houses that could be traced back over 5,000 years. To this day, archaeologists have found ancient carvings of these unique structures dating to around 3300 BC in the city of Uruk, the legendary home of Gilgamesh. The northern regions were different. The land was more arid, relying less on the marshes and more on rain-fed agriculture. But as you traveled southward, agriculture became almost entirely dependent on irrigation, with melting snows from the northern Zagros Mountains and the Armenian highlands feeding the rivers and sustaining life. Without the knowledge of irrigation, civilization here wouldn't have stood a chance. Yet this reliance on irrigation wasn't just a matter of survival. It helped birth some of the first urban settlements. People needed centralized authority to maintain the canals, organize labor, and keep the waters flowing. This effort laid the groundwork for some of history's most advanced and powerful city-states, from Babylon to Nineveh. Still, the geography wasn't always kind. Periods of climatic instability or breakdowns in political authority could lead to disasters. Without proper maintenance, the irrigation systems collapsed, and with them, whole cities. The landscape also left the region vulnerable to invasions, with nomadic groups and hill tribes sweeping down from the surrounding mountains, causing political fragmentation and chaos. History. The rise and fall of civilizations. The story of Mesopotamia begins long before the rise of empires and kings. Archaeologists trace the region's prehistory back to the Lower Paleolithic period, where the earliest known human settlements appeared. But it wasn't until around 4000 BC that Mesopotamia's cultural and political landscape truly blossomed. Uruk, the first true city of Mesopotamia, stands out as one of the world's most significant early urban centers. It was during the Uruk period that humans began writing, marking the dawn of recorded history. The proto-cuneiform script found on clay tablets from this time represents the first known use of written language, a leap forward that would forever change human society. As city-states formed, powerful rulers emerged. Figures like Sargon of Akkad established some of the world's first territorial states, the Akkadian Empire, around 2350 BC. Sargon's conquest united much of Mesopotamia under one rule for the first time, setting the stage for centuries of empire building. Later, around 1792 BC, Hammurabi of Babylon would rise to power. Known for his comprehensive set of laws, Hammurabi's code is one of the earliest and most complete written legal codes in history, giving us insight into the day-to-day lives of ancient Mesopotamians. His rule brought stability to a fragmented region, consolidating Babylon as a central power. But no empire lasts forever. The ebb and flow of power in Mesopotamia is marked by periods of conquest and collapse. The Assyrians would rise to power in the north, building one of the most feared militaristic empires of the ancient world, while the Babylonians ruled the south. Later, around the 6th century BC, the Achaemenid Persians under Cyrus the Great would conquer Babylon, marking the end of an era for Mesopotamian independence. The Muslim conquest in the 7th century AD signaled the final chapter in the region's ancient history. The Caliphate replaced the older city-states and empires, and Mesopotamia would henceforth be known by its modern names: Iraq, Syria, and the Jazeera. A legacy carved in clay, the achievements of Mesopotamia. Though the physical empires of Mesopotamia are long gone, their legacy endures. Their inventions and innovations laid the foundation for modern civilization. The invention of writing, first in the form of pictographs and later the famous cuneiform script, allowed for the documentation of laws, trade, and history. The ziggurats, towering temple structures that dominated the Mesopotamian skyline, were architectural marvels that inspired future civilizations. The mythic stories of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest epic poems, still capture imaginations today. Even modern genetics has traced the roots of people from Turkey and Iraq to early Mesopotamian farmers who spread their knowledge of agriculture across the globe. Their impact on the development of farming, city building, and governance shaped the very course of human history. In many ways, Mesopotamia was the cradle of civilization, a region that continues to influence the world today, even as its rivers, deserts, and marshes remain a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. What's your favorite part of Mesopotamia's story? Whether it's the rise of empires, the invention of writing, or the complex irrigation systems, this ancient land has left an indelible mark on human history. Leave your thoughts below, and let's discuss how Mesopotamia shaped our world.